Hey y'all, welcome back to the Insurance Lounge with me, Tanya.
And me, Kristy.
We are your local insurance agents out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and we are here to make insurance a little less boring and way more useful for you because our goal is to share with you what we know so that you can feel more confident about your insurance to better protect your family, your home, your business, and of course, your financial future. So, with that said, Christy, what are we talking about this week?
Yeah, well, just it's getting on towards the end of September, right? September has been Life Insurance Awareness Month, so we're going to close it out this month. Talking a little bit about the difference between two types of insurance that I think people hear about and don't, probably most people don't really understand what's the difference. Term life versus permanent life. What does that mean? And so we're going to break it down.
Yeah, and we want to share this with you so that is a little bit easier, something to start with. You certainly want to talk to your agent really more about your specific situation to really determine what's good for you. But we want to start with the basic today about term life insurance. In a nutshell, term life insurance is really designed for, like the name this
Short
is
term, yeah,
sound. Yep,
short term needs. Yeah, those big needs that you have for insurance
very
during your
temporary.
working years. Yeah, temporary needs. That's a better way to
Mhm,
put it.
mhm.
The needs that you have during your working years is kind of what I tend to think of it as. You need to be able to have a surviving spouse pay off a mortgage, send the kids to college, all of those sorts of things. If something happens to one of the partners, while you're still young and have a family and are building your assets. Um,
Absolutely.
as you grow and age and move on through the life cycle, those needs tend to diminish, and so your needs for term life insurance can diminish as well.
Absolutely. And usually you will see them come in terms like 10 years, 15
Yeah,
years, 20 years, 30 years. And like Christy had mentioned, during these years when you're working, maybe you need something to replace your income if you're
yeah,
not able to provide that income for your spouses anymore. Right. And so if you really think about it too, even if you have young children, right? Thank God they do grow up at some point. So when they do, right, whether it's 20 years or 25 years, whatever it is that works in your family, just really covering that to make sure that your family is taken care of if something happened
yeah.
to you.
So it's a set amount of insurance for a set period of time at a set premium, and the premium doesn't go up as you age until you reach the end of the term. And so
Right.
that's where I think, it can be the less expensive option, depending on your age, and
Mhm.
circumstances. But you can typically get a lot of coverage to cover those needs of a growing family with a term policy.
Absolutely. So this one, it sounds like to me, Christy, if you're on a budget and you have a lot of needs for life insurance because, you're a productive person, right? You have a great paying
Mhm.
job, you have children to take care of, you have your
Yep.
spouse, you have a nice
You
mortgage
have a
that you're
house.
paying
Yep.
off, right? Maybe some nice cars that you have. So the needs for insurance is a lot there, but it's not forever. And we're working with a smaller budget. So term insurance might be a good option for you to look into if that sounds like that's your situation.
Yep. Agree.
Now, and then, so on the other side, there is also something called permanent insurance. I'm sure you guys hear a lot of that talk on TikToks and things like that. So, essentially, in a nutshell, Christy, what is permanent insurance?
So permanent insurance is going to be something again where the premium stays the same for the lifetime of the policy, but it's typically intended to last for probably your lifetime. Age 99. Not many of us are living past that, right? Um, so it's
Unfortunately, but
but it's a can be something of an investment vehicle. It does build a cash value as you continue to pay premium into the policy. It builds a cash value, and that's what helps maintain that premium as you age. And there's not the need to pay additional premium for the policy as you're reaching older ages.
Absolutely. And typically, when you're looking at the permanent option, and usually, people will use that more for like estate planning, or if
Right.
you're really concerned about, final expenses that you didn't want to leave for your family, something that is going to follow you as you really, really need that benefit as you get older. Um, Now, it sounds all good, right, Christy? I mean, why would I not pick that over term? Because term's going to expire, my rate's going to go up when I'm not young
Mhm.
anymore.
Mhm.
So why not permanent?
Well, it is more expensive. It's a what you're paying. It's a really great benefit that you're paying for, so it tends to be more expensive than a term life policy. So, what I think this is where you're going too. What I like to recommend to people is get a mix of both. Have some term insurance for those temporary needs that you have, some shorter term needs, but then also have, something of a permanent policy that then as the term life insurance expires, and the rates are going to go up, maybe those needs are now gone if you've, continued working and, paying off the mortgage and the kids are, grown now and on their own and all of that sort of stuff. And then you can have that permanent policy that you can keep without paying more for it, but into your retirement years and offers some sort of, like you said, final expenses.
Exactly. And I know also there are a lot of talks out there that permanent insurance, permanent life insurance, like you mentioned, could be an investment vehicle. And I do want to talk a little bit more about that here, Christy, because I think there is a huge mis perce- uh, conception out there
Hmm.
that permanent insurance is supposed to last forever, and if I use that to fund my retirement, that's supposed to last me as well, where there's cash that I can tap into because it built value on its own, as well as there's a benefit for my family to cover final expenses if something were to
Yeah,
happen to me, right? We do want to caution you with that. And of course, when you have these type of conversation with your agent and you want to design your permanent life policy as an investment vehicle to help diversify your retirement planning, or maybe
hmm,
even,
sure.
use it more towards your retirement, we do want to caution that you want to work with your agent and go through the illustrations, understand all the moving
Yeah,
parts around it personally. And I could be wrong, but this is my personal take on these type of permanent policy that people use for retirement. Is know what you're buying, know what you're getting
sure.
into. As Christy mentioned, the cost for permanent insurance is quite higher because it does offer a lot of benefits. So if you think about, if you're investing some sort of, um, in your money into something, you want a lot of that money to be grown, right? Not to go into fees and costs to maintain a
Sure.
policy.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I would add too is, you know, uh, think of it as like an addition that you can add into your retirement portfolio. I don't know how you feel about it, Christy, but I would not recommend using it as the only retirement vehicle that
Absolutely.
you
Right.
have.
Yeah.
So, and the reason why we want to stretch on this part too is because, because if it costs a lot of money to maintain the policy, well, how much do you think the money that you invest into it is actually being used to grow your nest egg, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or is
It's
it,
very
or are you just
dependent
paying?
on, right. It's dependent on, the interest that it's earning throughout the years. So where that can fluctuate, that's like you mentioned, it's just very important to understand the illustration and understand really exactly what's happening with that policy and with that money that you're putting into it.
Absolutely. And now, if that's something you really want to dive deep into and you don't have a live agent you're working with, of course, no pressure, but you can always give Christy a call or myself a call, and we'll be more than happy to walk you through it.
Yeah, I think that, that's important, Tanya. Talk to an agent about what is the everybody is different. Everybody's circumstances are different, our situations are different. So it's not life insurance is not a one size fits all. Talk to an agent, and if you don't have one, sure, like we said, Tanya and I are happy to take your calls and talk to you about the options that are available. But really, you want to kind of a customized, personalized plan for what your insurance solution looks like, whether that's term only, permanent only, or some mix of the 2.
Absolutely. So, a quick summary of some of the tips we shared today. First, we talk about term, right, Christy? Something that
Right.
is simple and affordable, and
Affordable.
it's really to cover your temporary needs.
Yep. But lasts for a specific term, right?
Yes.
Versus permanent, which is going to be a little more expensive, but does have a lifetime guaranteed benefit. Maybe not guaranteed isn't a good word to use, but a proposed lifetime benefit as long as premiums are paid and the insurance or the interest works out. I'll say that. So
Yep.
it's got that cash value accumulation um, that can keep it in
Absolutely.
place.
Yep. And if you like both, or if you have the needs for both and you can afford both, we talk about the blended option, and that's always available. And we do encourage you to talk to an agent about that and really share with them your goals in life now and your goals in the future so that your agent
Mhm.
can better help you figure out what is the
Absolutely.
best thing for you.
You got it.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. Remember to follow, like, and share if you find what we talk about useful, and we hope it is. And we will see you next Tuesday. Bye.
Bye bye.